What's up, guys, and welcome back to another webinar from myself, the Muscle Geek. This time we will be talking about stress. So let's get right into it. So, first things first, what is stress? Now, stress is anything that poses a serious threat to homeostasis. Homeostasis is the body's comfort zone. It's what it likes to be in, and it's what it will always try to maintain. Compensatory responses to these stresses are known as stress responses. Based on the type, the timing, and severity of the applied stimulus, stress can exert various actions on the body, ranging from alterations in homeostasis to life threatening effects and death. Basically, what that means is when you are encountering a stressful situation, now this can be something as simple as eating something that your body doesn't necessarily agree with, a takeaway or a ready meal, for example. You are putting stress on your digestive system. Your body initiates stress responses to counter that. Now, the more often you have ready meals and takeaways, as well as other issues that it brings, these stress responses will accumulate over time. Digestive system starts to become weaker and you start to have digestive issues. In many cases, the pathophysiological complications of disease arise from stress, and the subjects are exposed to stress, e.g., those that work or live in stressful environments, have a higher likelihood of many disorders. To summarize, that is simply those who work in far more stressful environments are more at risk of gaining these disorders, these illnesses, these infections because of stress than those who are in less stressful working environments. Stress can either be a trigger or aggravating factor for many diseases and pathological conditions. So, people will be saying to you about healthy diet, people will be saying to you about good exercise, people will be saying to you about good sleep. But one of the things that they very, very, very rarely say to you is, how do you manage your stress? And this is exactly why we're doing this webinar today. We have two types of stress. We have acute stress. Now, acute stress is the minor stresses. So it could be your alarm clock in the morning when you wake up. Acute stress responses in young, healthy adults may be adaptive and typically don't impose a health burden. However, if the threat is unremitting, meaning if it continues, particularly in older or unhealthy individuals, the long term effects of stresses can damage health. When we have these acute stresses, they can build up over time. If you're in this work environment and there's something that someone says that really annoys you and you just let it go, so oftentimes you can just let it go. Sometimes, especially when you're in a bad mood, it just boils you over the edge and you have a breakdown. Now, this is a very, very typical thing to see when you're in a work environment and stress just slowly starts to build up. The next, chronic stress. If the individual perceives a noxious stimulus as too intense or its duration as too long, they may fail with coping with it and incur a maladaptation. In other words, if someone experiences chronic stress, they may struggle with dealing with it, and what happens is it incurs issues down the road with infection, illnesses, higher risk of disease or disorders, and so on. In this case, the stress response does not resolve into a state of balance, either similar or new, i.e., adapted compared with the state before stress hits. Neuroendocrine parameters remain altered and illness may ensue. So, this is what we were talking about. If you want handling or dealing with the stress, the parameters from which your body functions reduces and it stays reduced. Not only that, but illnesses may ensue long term as well. Symptoms of stress now are, because We have touched on chronic. I've broken them down into two again. Acute stress, we have psychological symptoms such as anxiety, low mood, emotional ups and downs, poor sleep, poor connection, poor concentration, sorry, and wanting to be alone. Obviously there's going to be caveats, and all these symptoms are going to carry over to other things as well. For example, you could have irritability because you haven't had a good night's sleep. You can have irritability because you're hungry. Yeah. But if you're hungry, and if you're not hungry, sorry, and if you have had good sleep and you're still irritable, stress could be one of the contributing factors to why you are feeling irritable. Other things such as self destructive behavior, like aggression, feeling emotionally numb and detached from others. You've also got physical symptoms as well, such as heart palpitations, nausea, chest pain, headaches, abdominal pains, breathing difficulties. Again, take it with a pinch of salt. These have carryovers, and you may have heart palpitations because of an existing issue that you have, or you may have chest pain with an existing issue you have. You may have headaches because of something completely different, but it is something to bear in mind. And next, we have chronic. So, physical symptoms of chronic stress, such as fatigue, headaches, increased risk of infections and illnesses. If someone is very regularly coming down with a cold or coming down with different infections, this could be a very good indicator that they are very stressed. Digestive problems and changes with appetite. I know from previous experience that when I've dealt with stress, appetite just completely goes. Anxiety when anxiety is high as well. Digestive problems, not so much, but appetite just completely goes. I'm not hungry. I don't want any food. If we relate it to a previous experience, such as losing a job or grieving about a lost loved one, or breaking up in a relationship, all these can induce stress or will induce stress. Decreased libido and self-esteem. If anyone doesn't know what libido is, it's sex drive. Psychological symptoms such as difficulty and inability to concentrate, rapid and disorganized thoughts, feeling helpless, nervousness, and perceived loss of control. Obviously, again, we're going to talk about carryovers with so many different things that can cause these exact same symptoms but not be stress, but it is something to always bear in mind. Let's get into health risks with stress. I know I'm dealing you guys pretty heavy hand, but the more you guys know about the issues with stress, the better you are, the readily prepared you are to fight it. So, health risks with stress, and I'm going to follow a kind of like a timeline of how acute stress can manifest itself into being very chronic or being something that ends up becoming overwhelming for an individual. So, acute stress in itself doesn't provide many health risks and is experienced regularly, as we know. We spoke about the alarm in the morning. Acute stress happening frequently can lead to chronic stress. Now, this is what we said when acute stress every now and again is okay. Acute stress happening over and over and over again is where issues can start to manifest themselves. This can lead to someone experiencing chronic stress, which then starts affecting health. It can start to affect health for in the form of serious infection or illnesses, sometimes death, depending on age and stuff like that. Your body will make you deal with it if you put it off for too long. Your body will make you deal with it through infection. Your body will make you deal with it through just completely knocking you for six to the point where you can't do anything. I've had clients who have a hard work schedule, and they've said to me that they couldn't come in because they developed shingles from stressful work environments. Stress isn't something to be messed with, and these health risks built up, if not sorted, will knock you for six, for lack of a better term. Finding the cause of the stress, either acute or chronic, is incredibly important, or finding the multitude of causes as to why. This will help reduce the health risk because you can start putting things into action. You can start making a plan and putting a plan in place to help reduce the stress from the cause that is causing it. What this will do is it will improve your overall quality of life. Right? We've gone through some of the symptoms of stress. Here we got some of the health risks. Now, rigorous longitudinal studies suggest high acute stress, which is what we said, stress that is highly frequent, may indicate risk for subsequent health problems. Some of these risks include headaches, increased risk of depression and insomnia, so this will lead to lack of sleep, rapid breathing, high blood sugar, high blood pressure can lead to a risk of a heart attack, fertility problems, low libido, possible erectile dysfunction, and missed periods. Stomach aches, digestive issues, tense muscles. Again, these could be caused by other factors, but it is worth knowing that these symptoms can be caused by stress also. Let's get into how you can manage your stress. Don't just react to stress. Deal with it constructively. I'm just close to finishing reading a book called The Chimp Paradox from Professor Steve Peters. Very good book, and I would highly recommend you read it. And in that book, he has formulated seven ways as a plan to deal with, again, we're going to talk about acute stress. So first thing, recognize your stress and agree to change your mindset. Press the pause button and calm yourself down. Sometimes when we're stressed, we're often having rapid, disorganized thoughts. So think in your head that you're pressing the pause button, calm yourself down, take a minute, let the emotional side of you breathe, let it calm down, and then you can distance yourself from the situation and try to look at it from a bird's eye view. Take a perspective of the situation. I know a lot of people suffer with road rage, and road rage is a great example of someone who easily deal with acute stress and they end up making it this big huge thing, and it ends up just putting them in a terrible mood for the rest of the day. So if you get cut up in the road, for example, or you get taken over, or someone beeps at you, first of all, recognize you're stressed. Then calm yourself down, press the pause button, distance yourself from the situation and try to look at it from a bird's eye view. Is me reacting in this way going to benefit me in any shape or form? Make a plan on how you can react better. Control the controllables, meaning yourself and your actions. How can you react better next time if someone cuts you up in the road while you're driving? Take no notice, breathe, let it pass. Then reflect on a plan quickly before acting. But finally, smile and recharge. So to summarize, not all stress is bad. When you're exercising, you're inducing a stress response to your body. This is how muscles grow. This is how we become better. This is how we progress. All right. Some stress is good. Acute stress isn't something to worry about in the short term. Be mindful of the stresses in your life, as these acute stresses can build up over time. Acute stress not dealt with, over a long period of time can lead to chronic stress. Chronic stress is where the health risk concerns mainly are. Okay? You can practice relaxation and stress management techniques to help deal with this. But you have to remember that stress is a part of life. You don't try to eliminate it because you can't. Instead, use it as a means to make yourself a better person reflect on how you handle situations, and try to see where you can grow as a person to deal with those situations better in the future. The references for you guys in case you wanted them. And that's it. Hopefully you guys know a lot more about stress now. Hopefully you guys have a few more ideas of how you can handle stress and how you can make your life less stressful. Remember, not all stress is bad, but hopefully it's given you a couple of tips to help you along. If you want to know where to find me, links are right here. Also, they'll be in the description box below. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps. Comment if you find it interesting, you find it insightful. Until next time, guys, see you later.